Greetings, YouTube. There's a lot of buzz in the political and media sphere at the moment about the Biden-Harris decision of reducing debt for college students by $10,000. So if you have any kind of debt and you make less than $125,000 a year, you will be forgiven $10,000. And if you have Pell Grants still in extent, you will, I think you believe, you will get $20,000 worth of relief, debt forgiveness. And there are lots of people out there who are very, very upset about this. They think it's evil and bad. And they don't seem to understand that the whole idea of giving debt to people from college for their college education was a deliberate political decision so that those people would then be beholden to their corporations for their jobs because they had to pay that debt off. And so once they become beholden to a corporation, whatever a corporation is, they would be less likely to buck the system. They would be more likely to just get in line and do their thing and become a nice little cog in the capitalist machine and keep it chugging along. The debt was a tool, a political tool by Republicans. And this started back in the 70s. And of course, it saw its fruition in the Reagan era. If you would ever find yourself in a situation where you think that it's appropriate to blame Reagan for all the shit in the world that you see today, you're going to be right more often than wrong. The Reagan era, in many ways, doomed millions, tens of millions of Americans to a life of suffering. In some cases, his acts, his behaviors, his refusal to accept reality led to the deaths of hundreds of thousands of Americans as well. Hundreds of thousands of people around the world. Remember, Reagan trained terrorists on U.S. soil and sent them to a foreign country where they raped and murdered people. Yeah, he did that. Never forget, he did that. Another thing people are all upset was like, well, their whole attitude is, well, I paid off my debts. I don't think you people should get any kind of forgiveness. It's not fair to all the people out there who paid their debts off the fair way, the right way. Well, I have some news for you. As the title of this video says, you should not have suffered. You should never have been burdened with debt. College education should have been publicly funded. Your education should have been funded from kindergarten through college through public funding. It shouldn't cost you a goddamn dime. Period. You should never have been in debt. Also, I need you to go look up how much college cost in, like, say, 1970 and compare to how much college costs now. So a lot of the people in our government, remember, they're fucking old. They're my age or older. When they got their education, you could literally pay for college with a part-time job. Even all the way up into the 90s, it was possible to pay for college through work. It was harder. I know a guy who did that. He paid for his college by building pallets by hand. That's what he did for a living. He did it in summers, on weekends and stuff. And he paid, when he got out of college, he had no debt. None. But you can't do that now. It's not possible. And anyone who thinks that their debt means that they paid off, means that someone else should have to pay off their debt. What you're saying is you suffered and someone else should suffer as well. And if that's the message you're taking away from this, you have problems. You have a mental illness of some variety. You are morally deficient if you think that because you suffered, someone else should suffer. That's twisted. Encouraging or endorsing other people to suffer because you did it in the past. It's evil. And now let's take a step back and realize that we have given tax breaks, we have given forgiveness to billionaires and to corporations for billions and billions and billions of dollars. 10, 100 times more money than this program is going to cost to give the debt relief to students. That's going to change lives. It's going to lift people out of poverty and put them on a path where they may someday be able to generate generational wealth, which of course is something that the GOP does not want, because those people, a lot of them, are going to be brown or black. And some of the white ones, heaven forgive, will be progressive. And I'm not going to deny that my family, my wife and I, will benefit from this program. My wife has college debt, not a lot. We've been very successful. She's been very successful at paying that down over the years. But she still has it. And it will be a great relief to us if we lose $10,000 of it. That would be great. But just because we are in debt, I don't think other people should be in debt. Ever. At all. They should never have been in debt, and they shouldn't be in debt now, and they shouldn't be in debt in the future. So I apologize if this is a difficult concept for some people to understand. But if you endorse other people's suffering, you have a problem.